Good morning, gorgeous. Just doing things really different today because I've had a different pattern to the day and it was raining and I didn't have much time, so I took pictures of the flowers and I just put them up, and now I'm here and I'm inside my lounge and I can't sit down because the place where I sit is just kind of busy because there's something that's still going on my laptop on the Zoom there, and so I thought I'll just walk around in my lounge because I'd really like to walk anyway. So what am I going to show you? I'm going to show you this picture, which I really enjoy. Farah, it's great to see you, honey. A little tour of the inside of my lounge today because that's just how it works out. And there is the door. And there's the office where stuff happens. And it's very scruffy, but, you know, that's my office. These are the crystal shelves, okay? They're not all fancy. They're all very cluttered. Well, cluttered. They're busy, let's just say that. So, you know, this is where they will live, and there's bits and pieces here, and, you know, so this time you get to see all of them. And these are the ones that my beautiful friend Jenny Polo has borrowed me. You can see some of them are actual samples, and they've got labels and things. So these ones are here on sleepover. And yeah, these plugs and things, this is a very functional area of the house. And here's the other shelf of the crystals that I sort of think of as mine, but really they're just staying here. And there's all kinds of goodies and bits and pieces here. And I like the fact that I've got a little stack. You know, that's just nice. So there is the crystal shelves. There are the crystal shells. It's great to see you, everybody. Lovely to see you. Facebook hasn't told me who you are, most of you. And look, there's a dangly thing that I made with feathers and crystals on the end. I'm this artistic person, really. I just don't do art anymore. I do other things. So, crystal shells again. Oh, look, the big guys. These are the heavyweights. We've got the big amethyst with its calcite here. That's calcite, right? So, you know, you get to see everything today. And then there is the big geode. And next to it is the lump of, and the yoga mat. There's the lump of rose quartz, which goes with this lump of rose quartz that you never get to see because it's too big. And the Christmas cards that I haven't yet moved. And, you know, the rocks that a friend gave me, and that's just New Zealand quartz. And there are other things. And you see I have little tops on them to keep a little bit of the dust off them. And here's the white quartz, which many of you will recognise. And the big one, 7 kilo polish point. Very fond of that. So, you know, little walk around in the lounge. There's the bean bags. And here I am. And so, looks at the clock. I've got the clock. So today, the topic I want to play with is really about, it's a response to comments that, you know, various stuff I've made over various times, but it was especially what you said, Linda, and I know you'll see this, about the fact that your emotional and mental changes are progressing nicely, and they are. Oh my goodness, haven't we all changed so much? And yet, you know, your body's lagging behind. How come I'm doing this work in my awareness, and I'm changing who I am, and I'm changing my behaviours, and I'm thinking differently, and I really do feel better, but my body's still, you know, my body. What's the deal with that? And how do I handle this experience? You know, how do I manage that? How do I not lose the plot when I'm doing this work to, as much as I can, live in the reality that I'm creating, because I believe that my thoughts and my feelings have something to do with how my life actually is. I believe that I create my reality, and I remember that when I fire a thought, I get neurotransmitters which make neuropeptides, which make hormones, which influence the hormonal centers in my body, which then has this epigenetic effect on my physicality, on every single cell, every thought I think, every moment. This is what happens. And because of my habitual thoughts and feelings, over time, I have signalled the genetics in my cells to be a certain way. And I might have been doing that for 40 years. And here I am turning around this battleship of how I think and how I feel, and starting to think and feel different things. But the battleship hasn't turned around at the body level yet. And how do I manage that process? How do I deal with that? How do I not freak out? How do I not get scared? How do I not get frustrated, right? That's what I want to talk about today, because I face this myself. I do. And in fact, I think I'll actually give you a little... Excuse me, I've just got to make myself a little bit more room to pace here. It's very important that I get to pace. So I'll give you a little background. Again, I don't want to get specifics, because the minute you talk about a thing, people by association dredge through their memories about what that thing means to them and who else they know who had that problem and how it went for them and all of that stuff. Heather, good morning, beautiful people. But there is a little thing that's been going on in my body, and not just logically, in my soul, in my heart, I know that the thing that's going on in my body is actually happening because of the changes that I am making. Because mentally, emotionally, I've changed a great deal, and most people who've known me for long enough have seen the sea change, and it continues, it increases, it's faster, it just carries on, and it's wonderful. And on the yoga mat, which of course you just saw if you were here, and if not, there's a yoga mat on the floor. I'm noticing my body letting go in ways that it simply wouldn't do before. Like I'm really starting more consistently to work with the upside down push-up, Ardha Rasana, otherwise known as the wheel, where you do a push-up but you're upside down. Now, a year ago, and I mean, I've been sort of poking at this for a number of years. And it's summer, so it's easier because things are warmer and my body is, looser and all that stuff. Summer is the time to really expand my practice. Winter is the time to maintain it and just, quietly keep going at things. But when I first started doing that, all that really happened was that it was bloody hard. I couldn't really get far, and there was tremendous pressure on my wrists. Because, they're like this, and you've got to push up. And nothing would really go. And I understood that I was feeling all this pressure in my arms and my legs and everywhere else because the front of my body was so short that it wouldn't open. And so, you're trying to push yourself into an upside-down push-up, but the front of your body's tight. Well, where's the pressure going to go? Into the other joints that are looser. My wrists are pretty loose, so, they got the push. And what I've noticed as I've gone along is that it's got easier, right? But as I have cleared out my emotional and energetic crap, and as I feel more energy running through my body in my meditations, and as I physically use my body differently, and as I inhabit my body differently, and really behave and move and think and breathe like a different person more and more each day, as I make those changes, I notice correlating changes in my body. It's not a coincidence. It's happened too often. I make a big shift, my body releases. The next time I get on the mat and do the thing, it's, that's easier. And so, I know my body is physically changing and releasing very old patterns and things it's been leaning on for years. And I'm having these weird sensations, which the fearful networks in my brain, which is, fear is the dominant emotion for me. If I let it, it will run me. Because there's a lot of hardware about fear in my head. For other people, it's anger. For other people, it's sadness. Whatever, or permutations thereof. And if I let those neural networks run away with me, I will feel afraid. And I had a battle with that yesterday because my body was doing things, and they're tiny, tiny things. My brain went, oh no, that's the beginning of something bad. Oh no, you got to worry about that. And I had to make so much conscious choice not to go into fear. And this is the dance that I'm talking about, Here I am, I've got this degenerative condition. I'm not saying that, right? But, a lot of us face this. I've got this degenerative condition, and it's there, and I'm scared that it's going to get worse. Isn't that the thing? You have this thing, you have a diagnosis, and then as soon as you have the diagnosis, you're scared it's going to get worse. This is what we do. We anticipate the worst. And so this is the challenge. It's like, oh my God, I know that every time I anticipate the worst, I'm literally sending the signal of the worst to my cells. I got to stop this. But I'm scared of the worst, and round it goes, right? So how do you manage that? And I was sitting, eating my dinner actually, And my body was doing this little tiny thing. And I felt my fight or flight system really making an effort to turn on. And it did a little bit. But I was sitting there and thinking, I've got to stop this. I do not want this to get into the normal thing that it used to do, but doesn't do so much now. And I put my hand on my heart, just breathing in and out of my heart, still feeling fear in my body, but knowing that putting my attention in my heart, breathing in and out of it, relaxing back in my seat, saying to my body, you're safe. Don't have to do this. You're safe, body. There is nothing to be afraid of right now. Just because there's this little tiny sensation and the brain wants to say, oh, that's a disaster in the making. No. You're safe. And I took some time and I found myself, after dinner, I needed to do some work on the computer, I needed to be in Facebook and do some things. And my body was just getting wound up. I thought, no, I got to stop this. I got to stop. I got to breathe slowly. I've got to bring up the memories that I have that I use to shift my state away from fear and into something that's more positive, into more positive feeling, more positive emotion. Why? Because the more positive emotion sends a much more helpful signal to my cells that say, it's okay. We're not being chased by a lion. We can relax by the fire, rest and digest, heal, get on with long-term building projects, and generally get better, right? This is the dance that we are all doing. Anyone who's working with physical health, actually, that's what's going on. And most of us, I think, can relate to that one way or another. And so, that was last night. And I thought I need to make sure that when I go to bed, my body's not going to be in survival because it tends to do that. If anything's going to go off the rails, it has in the past tended to happen in the evening when I get tired, or I'm under pressure, and I was yesterday. I had a big day yesterday, and I was under pressure, and I wanted to get to bed. It's like, oh my God, I nearly forgot something important. I had to turn on my computer again and do it. And it's, I thought, no, the elevated, evolved master that I am choosing to pretend that I am, who am I being today? Does not get rushed, does not hurry, does not stress about another 5 minutes. Just, deal with the thing. And there's a video live that I do in the Heartfield that I normally do on Thursdays. I ran out of time. I made a conscious decision. I'm going to do it today. That's okay. I can be a day later. A year ago, I would have just done it, and I would have done it well, but I would have stretched. It's like, no. That's not what a master does. It'll be in perfect time. So all of these things are about choosing to self-regulate in the moment. Because I did not have time to sit down and do even a 15-minute process to settle myself down. I had to do it moment to moment with my eyes open. And it really is about going against the flow. Because the emotional flow for me last night would have been to stay in stress, white knuckle it, as Dr. Joe says, sort of bull my way through this challenging experience of a couple of hours and then get to bed and, deal with it there. No, I'm worthy enough to take the time to take a few breaths to settle myself down. Morning, Jan, can see your little face there. I'm worthy of that. To value myself enough to stop, slow down, take a breath. Sometimes that's all I have time for. Bring that memory back to mind. And I told you about yesterday, about being on the beach and that sunset. And it's like a symbol for me now, these 3 sun rays with the bright star of the little bit of the sun that I could see above it. I can bring that back. I can use it to remember how that felt and remind my body, hey, you're safe. And in that moment, when I would normally spiral into feeling more fear and, all of that, instead, I can come back closer to being in more balance again. That is the work that we do. That is the process. That's what we're doing. And that is the challenge that we face with physical healing. It really is that. And this morning in my meditation, I was having the feeling again. I was already, but by the point that this happened, I was connected enough to the greater mind that it could get through to me, And it said, look, you realise that with all the work you've been doing, and really I've been connecting two dimensions together, and there's been this massive kind of split in my awareness and energy that I'm pasting together, if you like, or stitching, I don't know, melding, merging, whatever. I'm really here now instead of feeling like I'm in two places at once, not realising that was how I felt. But your body is adapting, you are adapting your body to the new energy that is you, that you are bringing in, that we are bringing in, that we're creating here. This is what's going on. Don't sweat. And I was there like, really? It's like, well, yeah, don't you know this? Don't you really feel this? It's like, oh yeah, actually I do. This energy, which I can feel right now and which I could feel right then, it's like, put the greater mind says to me, put your awareness in there. Feel that. Is it out of balance? Is it not benign? Is it, dysregulated, unbalanced? No, there was just a smile. But it's unfamiliar to me. So my brain says it's different. It looks like that thing which other people have talked about because they've healed themselves from it. And I must have that thing. It's like, no, your body is just adapting to the fact that you've changed. So that's my inner dance. That's the challenge that I face at the moment. It's quite in my face because what I also understand about that is that this experience that I'm having is because I need to overcome that fear. This thing of, there's a tiny little thing. I know you've heard me talk about it, and oh my God, I must have something awful happening. That has to cease to be a part of who I am. At the moment, it is. I mean, there's a lot of hardware about that. I've got to prune it apart. I've got to stop being this person who reacts like that. And I do. So that, for me, is the current little step that I'm taking to turn my personal battleship around. It's really not about what's happening in my body. It's about how I'm reacting and responding to whatever trigger there is in my environment, whether it be inside my skin or outside my body. So for some of you, the trigger that makes you go, I'm just losing it here, is the many difficult people that you have to deal with. And yet, I know this because it's true. There is a version of you that does not even react to all of those crazy people. What I know about the things that trigger us is there is something in them that is in common with us. I just was listening to Joe talk about this yesterday in an interview. The person that you go, it's because there's something in them that is triggering something in me. And when I've overcome that aspect of myself, the only thing that's going to happen when I see that person again, he says, when you've overcome yourself and you're just in love with yourself and with life and everything, all you want to really do is walk at the person and say, you must be feeling like shit to be behaving like that. You must be feeling bad. Let me give you a hug, Because think about it. It feels crap to be angry, right? It feels crap to be fearful. It feels crap to be so threatened that you lash out. Bad feeling. Imagine if you've overcome that aspect of yourself that gets so scared or angry or whatever it is, that you now have compassion for that part of yourself that used to be like that. And then you see that in another person, you think, oh my God, I know how awful they feel. I wish I could help them feel better. That's all you have is compassion for people. When you've overcome yourself, you don't react. Because there's just nothing there to react. It's just, okay, crazy people. Now, it's tough when crazy people are in your face. That's all I can say. But I know that when I'm healed, whatever doesn't trigger me up. And if it does, it's because there's some part of me that's still there to be triggered up. Some neural network in my brain is going off and my brain is saying that's a dangerous thing. I have to go into survival. I have to run. I have to fight, or I have to freeze. That's it. Those are my choices. And so with the physical process of choosing who we want to be, however we do it, however we get to do it, given our circumstances and our lives, and this is the same with abundance, it's the same with finding love, it's the same with finding purpose in life, creating a new life for yourself, whatever. The dance is always that we can bring up the feeling, we can experience it with our eyes closed. As Joe says, that's easy. Well, for some of us, that's tough. Just developing the passion and the discipline and the determination and the hardware in your head to do it can be really tough. But once you get that down a little bit, it starts to become so rich and so sweet. It's like, oh my God, I want to do this. I love this. Yeah, okay. However long that takes, and sometimes it can take a while. Depends how much mess there is inside your skull, right? But once you're doing that, that is no longer hard. The challenging part is when you open your eyes and you go out into your life and you have to deal with everything with your eyes open, and there's all this stuff, there's all this stimulus, triggers, memories, people, things, places, times, and off your brain goes with all the things in you that still relate to that with an emotion of pain or fear or whatever it is. And so to catch yourself in the act of reacting, and sometimes you can't stop it, it's so strong, it just overwhelms you, but then how long are you going to stay there? And that was my choice yesterday. So how long am I going to stay like this? Let me do something to moderate this. I couldn't completely shut it down, but I moderated it. I stayed aware of it. I didn't just give in to it, which I would have once because I didn't know what else to do. So that's the thing, is to realize when you're reacting to the fact that your healing isn't here yet, that's what you got to overcome. When you're scared because your body seems to be getting worse, that's what you got to overcome. It's not what your body's doing. Because that's all about the past. The epigenetic expression that you've created in your body, you might have spent 50 years doing that. It's not going to take you 50 years to undo it, but you don't know how long it is going to take. And the point being that however you're reacting now, that's what you have to deal with. And it can be very challenging when your body's doing scary shit. But, in this moment, what signal are you sending to your cells? I got that question from Joe, and now I ask myself, Maddie, what signal are you giving to your cells right now? Do you want to keep doing that? How long are you going to do that for? That's the journey. That's the dance. That's the challenge we face in every moment. And it's an inexact science, and we don't have all the answers. But that's what I know about it. So, it's Friday. The week is done. Flashed by. It's been amazing. It's been wonderful to share it with you. Thank you so much. Look out for Resonant replays over the weekend, and I will see you on Magic Monday. Big love. Bye-bye.